Today we're talking about the 10 habits that has changed my life. Hey Chill Fam, I am super excited to be here today. If you're a returning subscriber, you know how I feel about you. Thank you so much for being here and for continuing to support me. If you are new to this channel, you are so welcome to the Chill Fam. I'm glad to have you here and I hope you stick around. So today I wanted to talk about the 10 things that has changed my life personally. I wanted to share them with you so that you can start practicing them in your life and hopefully you can start seeing some changes in your life as well. Before I start, I wanted to bring a new perspective to habits. People talk about habits in terms of things that you've got to do continually every day. How I look at habits is a practice. I don't really even call them habits. I call them practices because that's what it is. It's something that I continue to practice in my life, and the more I practice, the better I become. And so I don't like putting any pressure on myself, trying to build these habits. It's just something that I do constantly in my life, and if I happen to forget to do it one day, it's okay. I pick up exactly where I left off. So the first thing that has really changed my life is positive self-talk. For a long time in my life, maybe late teens, early 20s, I would just say whatever to myself. I wouldn't really check what it is that I was saying to myself. And then I got to a point in my life where I started to practice positive self-talk no matter what. I promised myself that I'm not going to judge myself for anything that I do. However, I will always make sure that I do better with the best information that I have. And a quote that I love, it's from Maya Angelou. It says, "When you know better, you do better." So I no longer judge myself because I know that whenever I know better, I will do better and I will hold myself to that high esteem. That is something that I would love for you to start practicing as well, where you no longer speak ill of yourself. You no longer use words that you would never use on anybody else to yourself, but you are rather kind to yourself. And even when you catch yourself being unkind to yourself, you get to pause and apologize to yourself and continue going. As I said before, this is a practice. It's not about getting it right the first time. It's about continuous practice, and it's about knowing better. And the more you know better, doing better. The second practice that has been really life-changing for me is checking in with myself. What I mean by that is basically just being present with my own emotions, being present with my thoughts, being compassionate to myself, all of that beauty. So there might be times where I might be in a situation, maybe in a work environment, I'm stressed out, maybe the workload is getting too much. I pause and I check in with myself. Ida, how are you feeling? This is something that I would normally even ask myself out loud. How are you feeling? What do you need right now? And I give myself what it is that I need in that moment, because nobody's coming to give you that. You have got to give it to yourself, but you're not going to know exactly what you need, when you need it, and what's happening in your body if you're not pausing to check in with yourself. Remember, it's not about getting it perfect. It's just about where are you right now? How can you continue to check in with yourself? Maybe even at the beginning, you might want to set alarms, maybe 2 alarms in the day. Check in with yourself. Hey, how am I feeling? What do I need in this moment? And give that to yourself, because you deserve it. And also, if you're not checking in with yourself, who's going to check in with you? You can't expect that if you're not doing it for yourself, right? The third practice is rewarding myself with Netflix. Hear me out. What I mean by this is sometimes you might catch yourself procrastinating. There might be something that you really need to do in your life that you're not doing. Something that I've found is usually when I need to do something in my life that might be new, that I haven't done before, that maybe I'm a bit scared of, my body goes into this natural way of wanting to protect me. It goes into this overdrive, right? And so it's gonna make me start doing things that I don't want to do. It's gonna make me focus on other things other than the thing that I really want to get done. Therefore, what I decided to do is I would rather take control and distract myself. I'm not gonna let my brain distract me because it's afraid. I'd rather distract myself as a reward though, right? So the distraction becomes a reward. It does not become a hindrance to whatever it is that I need to do. An example of this is maybe I might need to write 5 pages of a work report, okay? My body, my brain, everything in my being will be telling me, yeah, no, we don't want to do it. Let's do something else. So what I tell myself is, okay, Ida, how about every 1 page that you do, you watch a Netflix episode? And it works because my brain has something to be looking forward to. All of a sudden, it's not offering me distractions because I'm going to distract myself in the next hour anyway. Now, yours might not be Netflix. I think for me, it was important that it's Netflix because I love watching TV shows. I love it. It just brings me a lot of joy. And so yours might not be Netflix. What is it in your life that you enjoy doing? Maybe it's a walk in the park. Maybe it's listening to music, dancing, whatever it is that brings you joy. For a lot of people, it's social media. It's scrolling on social media. So if you do enjoy scrolling on social media, okay, just tell yourself, okay, after every 1 page that I do, I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to scroll. However, you're going to scroll intentionally, right? You're not going to scroll aimlessly. You're not going to scroll unconsciously because you know exactly what you're doing. You know that you're giving yourself an hour, you're giving yourself 2 hours to scroll, and then you're coming back to the task. That's something that you should try out. It's been super helpful for me, and I'm sure it's going to be helpful for you. Cool, let's keep going. Number 4 on the list, and this is very important. This is so important, so I need you to come here, listen closely. Checking in whenever someone's like, we need to talk. Can I call you? I check in, and how I do this is by asking them, is what you're about to tell me negative? Or I would ask them, can you give me a summary of what it is you want to talk about? Or can you tell me what you'd like to talk about? Just so I can prepare myself for this conversation. Let me give you a reason why this has become so important in my life and why I think it's so important for you as well. Some years back, I was on a flight. I love flying, or should I say I loved flying, right? I'm sitting next to this guy, love flying, especially takeoff and landing, my favorite. I jubilate, literally. And so I'm sitting next to this guy, I'm super excited. I'm like, yes, we're about to take off. And he looks at me and he's like, why are you so excited? And I'm like, oh, takeoff and landing is my favorite part, so I'm looking forward to takeoff. The guy pauses, looks at me and says, do you know that most crashes happen during takeoff and landing? And since he said that, I have never enjoyed flying again. What I mean is, now when I sit in the plane, my body goes into this shock. My body goes into this anxious state. I'm literally crippled by anxiety. There's this fear that just overcomes me. And for many years, even though I'm a therapist, I have not been able to overcome that. And I know that something happened when he told me that. You know why? Because our mind is so susceptible. It is so susceptible, and therefore it's so important for you to gatekeep. It's so important for you to basically make sure that any information, anything that is entering your mind is conducive to the environment that is your body. Do not, and I repeat, do not allow anything enter your system, your mind, without you filtering them out. And so since then, I filter out every conversation, every content. Social media, my content is curated. Like, I decide what type of content I see. I decide what type of conversations that I like to have. So if I'm in a group setting and the conversation is not going how I feel will be conducive to me, guess what? I get up and I walk away, because that's how important it is for me. I don't want any other thing entering without me gatekeeping and filtering to cause other traumatic, events for me. Number 5 on the list is building an inspirational village. What I mean by that, and I will expand on this in another video in future, but what I mean is reading books, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos of and from people that you look up to. People that have something that you're looking for. People that are where you would like to go and to be. Okay? That is what I call your inspirational village. As a human being, you need to continually expand your knowledge. That is how we grow. And so one way, and one of the best ways to do that, is to locate the type of people that you want to learn from. The person that you look up to, that you want to be. The people that inspire you the most. Read their books, listen to their podcasts, watch their YouTube videos, and you're going to realize that, one, your mind starts to expand. Not only that, you start to see possibilities. You no longer see lack, but you see possibilities, because you're listening to these people who have achieved the very thing that you're working to achieve. Number 6 on the list is being present. Being in the present moment. And this one is challenging. I cannot lie to you. This one is very, very challenging, because we are always tempted to think, what's next? Or to think, oh, damn, I regret that. Instead of being in the present moment, especially with how the world is going right now, it's so tempting to think, to worry about the future, and, to think about the past, to think about what didn't work and all the things. One way that I've been able to really stay present is continually reminding myself to breathe. Take a breath, Ida. Take a breath. Everything is going to be okay. Even when I don't believe it. I take a breath and trust that everything is going to be okay. One tip that I want to give you if you're struggling to stay present is just wherever you are, look around and try and name 5 things in the room, in the environment, in your car, wherever you are. Instead of focusing on the future or the past, what is in this room that I am right now? What is in this car? What is in this environment right now? Stay with that. That is a form of being present. I said this one is challenging, but you can do it. It's practice. On to number 7, being self-aware. Self-discovery is my jam. That is basically the one thing that I love doing, well, amongst many things. But it's very, very important for me to be self-aware, because I need to know who I am. I need to understand why I do the things that I do. And this has really changed my life, because it makes me understand why I do the things I do, so that I can make the changes that I need to make in my life. Imagine not knowing who you are. Imagine not knowing what you value, not knowing where you're going in life. You're going to be tossed around everywhere. You're going to be like a leaf being blown away by the wind. You can fall anywhere. But when you're self-aware, you decide, it's almost like you're in control of your life, because you're aware. You know why you did the thing. You know why you didn't go to that event, because it's not important to you. You start to understand, the things that are really important to you, your triggers, your, happiness. Like, what makes you happy? Most people don't even know that. And it all boils down to self-awareness. One way I do that, I love talking to myself a lot. I also love prompts. For instance, maybe if something happened in your life and you got really angry, sit yourself down and ask yourself the question, why did I get so angry at this? Why? What in this situation rubbed me the wrong way? Take the time to understand yourself. Take the time to analyze that for yourself so that in future, you know situations to avoid, you know the things that you want to do, you know the things that you don't want to do, stuff like that. Self-awareness, in fact, it's been, if we're to sum it all up into one, it'd be like the umbrella of all the practices that I'm listing. And you can literally start right here, right now, by asking yourself, what do I stand for? What is important to me in my life? Number 8 on the list is taking responsibility for my actions. Not blaming anyone but myself. In fact, not even blame really, but focusing on myself, asking myself the tough questions. Why didn't this thing work out? What happened? No one did anything. How did I contribute to this situation? How did I end up in this position that I am? If it's a relationship that didn't work out, how did I contribute to the demise of that relationship? Whatever it is that happens in your life, taking full responsibility of the part you had to play. It's a tough one because it asks you to look at yourself. It asks you to work on yourself, to improve on yourself, to grow. You know what that does? It puts the control back into your hands. All of a sudden, no one is controlling how things are working in your life. You are in full control. We can't blame Joe down the road. We take it. We take full responsibility of our life. We're in control of our life, of our actions, of our speech, of our result. And it's such a powerful position to be in. Number 9 is practicing self-reflection. Taking time to reflect on my day. Taking time to reflect on my feelings. Taking time to reflect on my life in general. Most of the times we just keep going. We don't pause to take the time to reflect. This is something that has literally transformed my life because it allows me to see where I was and where I am. Without self-reflection, I wouldn't know the progress that I've made. So really and truly, it is a benefit to you because it allows you to see your growth over time. It allows you to see how you handled certain situations in the past and how you're handling it now. There's been so many moments where I'm like, wow, I can't believe that this is the answer I gave in this situation. Or wow, I can't believe I didn't actually react to that. You know, it makes me realize how far that I've come. Last but not the least, learning to be comfortable with discomfort. Oof. I cannot tell you what a challenge this has been for me, but so rewarding because discomfort is the recipe for growth, literally. Without feeling the discomfort, you're not growing. And I'm not talking about discomfort like, you know, waking up 5 a.m. or just pushing yourself to the edge a little bit. And that's something I tell myself, like, Ida, how can you find, okay, like 1 octave, just push yourself a tiny bit more. How can you take yourself to the edge? So imagine the edge being here. How can I come on a tiny bit more? Every single time. And one way that I started to practice this was from cold showers. Now, I'm not telling you to go and have cold showers, but if you wanted to practice it, why not? You can give it a shot. So I practiced having cold showers for a whole month, 30 days. And let me tell you, it was challenging at the start. At the start, my whole body was like, no, I don't want to do this. Please stop. My body was begging me, but I continued. And I breathed through it. I breathed through that discomfort. I told my body, listen, we're in control. And I kept breathing. Guess what? The 5th day, it got a bit better because all of a sudden my body is like, okay, we're feeling uncomfortable, but we've done this before, we can do it. Day 10, my body is like, okay, it's uncomfortable, but I know we're not gonna stop, so let's deal with it. Come day 20, my body is like, oh, I got this. What's up? Give me more. I got this. You know, come day 30, my body is like, what is this? I don't feel anything. Come on, make it colder. Make it colder. I was so used to the temperature, but it goes to show how powerful we are as human beings. We're so powerful that our body can adapt to any environment, any situation. Except at the start, we might not believe it. And it will be challenging because we don't believe it. But we will get to a point where our body is like, oh, come on, add it up. And that cold water practice really helped me with real life situations where when I'm feeling discomfort, and I'm telling you, I have felt discomfort. When I'm feeling discomfort, I just learn to just breathe. I'm like, breathe through it. You can do this. Breathe, you can do it. It doesn't mean that the discomfort goes away, because remember, with the cold showers, the discomfort does not disappear. I become comfortable with it. And I've practiced this to a point where I'm quite comfortable with discomfort. However, there's always another octave. There's always another edge that I have not gone or taken myself. And so in my life, I look for ways that I can place myself in certain situations. Whether it be applying for that job that maybe I don't qualify for, that I'm afraid, like whatever it is that I'm doing, allow myself to go a tiny bit above, taking it up a notch, you know, and seeing. Something that I love telling myself is, you know, I want to meet the Ida on the other side. I want to meet the Ida who actually did the thing, right? On the other side. And that's something that keeps me going. Yeah, so these are the 10 practices, the 10 habits that has really transformed my life. And I hope that as you're listening, you're gonna go away, even if you wanna practice one thing from this video, go ahead and practice it. And remember, it's not about becoming perfect. It's just about continuous practice, because the more you practice, the better you become. And there's always a new edge, a new level, a new place that you can take yourself. And one thing that I want to leave you with is day 30, you will be super grateful for day 1 you, okay? Always remind day 1 that day 30 will appreciate this at the end. Awesome. Remember, here we vibe, we chill, and we heal.